Tonight,
my pleasure.
Another economist considered one of the world's smartest guys is coming out with bad news. This guy's name is Nouriel Roubini. Nouriel Roubini. He's a Turkish immigrant who's considered one of America's foremost economic minds, who was the #2 man in the Department of Treasury under President Bill Clinton. He has just announced, a couple of hours ago, by the way, when this crossed, that according to him, the global recession is already underway. That's what he's saying. And he's warning central banks all over the world not to try and get out of it by simply printing more money as they have in the past.
A bleak report from the International Monetary Fund today says the global economy will contract by 3% this year, with highly developed economies like Canada's shrinking by more than 6%. That's $9 trillion off the global economy. They think it could be the worst downturn since the Great Depression. So let's bring in senior business correspondent Peter Armstrong. Peter, have we ever even seen anything remotely like this?
No, I mean, you mentioned the Great Depression. I mean, they're even saying this is much worse than the 2008 financial crisis. And think about that. That was 10 years ago, and we still feel its impact. And back then, global GDP fell by just 1%. This is already forecast to be 3 times as bad.
It's easy to forget that when you save your money by putting it in a bank, you're not really saving it at all. You're lending it. You deposit your money in the bank and you get credited, but behind the scenes, your money actually goes into a big pool which the bank loans out to others. They always have to keep some in reserve, but say you give them £100 and their reserve requirement is 10%. Then the bank can lend out £90 to someone else. It all gets messy when banks invest in something that goes bust. If enough money isn't coming back in, then they've spent your money and can't give it back. Most banks have insurance to protect your cash, but only last year Cyprus's banks found themselves in massive debt and so took almost half of people's savings. That added up to something like €4 billion. That's a shitload of money to be taking from people.